Well, as we've heard, even as Haitian citizens try to help each other, a massive international aid effort is ramping up tonight, with President Obama leading the call for a fast, all-out rescue operation. Countries from Iceland to Venezuela are beginning to send in supplies, aid workers and rescue teams. Steve Kingston has more on the push to get aid where it's needed most.
Through him, with him, in him, and the unity of the Holy Spirit.
In prayer and in shock. This was Miami today, in an immigrant neighborhood they call Little Haiti. Many here still don't know whether loved ones are alive or dead. Their simple message to America: please help.
I cannot begin to tell you what kind of tragedy, the horrific life that these people are living right now. No hope. They don't know where their help is coming from.
And so the US has mounted what it calls a swift and aggressive relief effort, dispatching plane loads of food and medical supplies, sniffer dogs and thermal imaging equipment. Military engineers will coordinate logistics.
So we have a group going in to make sure we can gain and secure the airfield and operate from it, because that's one of those locations we think we're going to have a lot of the immediate effort from an international basis.
Around the world now, relief efforts are being mobilized. In Britain, a team of firefighters were on the first available flight to Haiti. They're taking heavy-duty rescue gear, listening devices and cameras. France, with historic ties to Haiti, is providing a field hospital, plus supplies from French territories in the Caribbean. And China is sending rescue teams, plus a $1 million donation for the relief effort. Cruel and incomprehensible is how President Obama described these scenes from a country whose own rescue capability is almost non-existent. For the people of Haiti, the outside world has become a lifeline. Steve Kingston, BBC News, Washington.
Well, for much more on what the US is doing to respond to this tragedy and where the greatest needs lie, I'm now joined by Raymond Joseph. He's Haiti's ambassador right here in the US, and from the State Department, Assistant Secretary P.J. Crowley. Let's start with you, Ambassador. This is a terrible tragedy for your country, and the image that we're getting is that people are really having to rely on their own resources in order to fend for themselves. Is that the picture you're getting as well?
Yes, I'm getting that picture, but at the same time, I'm getting another picture of the international solidarity. Our neighbors, the Dominican Republic, were the first to come in this morning with 20 responders, first responders. And the United States of America called and invited me to the State Department this morning and had a session in which we outlined what was needed, and the U.S. already was sending in 2 cutters in Haiti, 2 teams of first responders from Fairfax County and from California and so forth.
Good. Well, let's go straight to the State Department and P.J. Crowley. P.J., you heard the ambassador there. I mean, he is very pleased with the fact that there's been such a commitment of aid. Tell us exactly what is in the works from the U.S. tonight.
Well, first of all, the ambassador is quite right. We were able to link up with the embassy yesterday and overnight with President Proval and his administration, so that we make sure that we're delivering what the government and the people really need. Obviously, the immediate challenge is urban search and rescue capability. We've put an assessment team on the ground in the first of 3 urban search and rescue teams to try to save as many lives as possible. But as the ambassador knows well, as we are able to ramp up our logistical effort, clearly the needs of the population will grow, with keys being water and food and sanitation, medical care, and as we're able to expand operations at the airport, we're still evaluating what we can do at the port in Port-au-Prince, but we expect the flow of humanitarian assistance to grow in the coming days.
And PJ, as you know, in that country, even at the best of times, communications by road, by air, by phone are extremely difficult. How can the U.S. make sure that the vast amount of aid that is bound to flow into that country will actually go to the places where it's needed most?
Well, part of this is technical. And in talking to the Haitian government, obviously one of its needs is to be able to communicate, among itself, because of the devastating impact of the earthquake on communications on the island. So we are flowing in some communications capability that will enhance the capability of the Haitian government, allow it to be able to communicate with its own people. A second priority that President Proval told us was to make sure that we have operations at the airport. So we are flowing in a special team that can assist with air traffic control, secure the airport so that we can expand operations there, because actually we will be needing to bring in so much from outside of Haiti. And this is not just a U.S. effort. Clearly there's material flowing from within the hemisphere and also from Europe landing as we speak.
And Ambassador Joseph, I mean, we were all struck by that very poignant image of the presidential palace in ruins. The president himself has said today that he doesn't know where he's going to sleep tonight. Have you spoken to him? Have you got any idea of what's actually going on at the government level in Haiti?
First of all, I have to admit that I have not been as successful as some State Department people to reach my own president.
You haven't spoken to your own president?
I have not been able to reach him. We've been able to speak to the First Lady and also to the Secretary General, to the President. But the President himself, not yet. However, I saw what happened to the palace. And I say, if the palace, such a structure, such well-built place can fall like just like a cotton that is being crushed, what will happen to all these little flimsy houses?
Have you been in touch with your own family? Are they okay?
My immediate family, hopefully, living here with me. Some cousins in Port-au-Prince, I have not been able to reach them yet.
All right. Ambassador Joseph, best of luck. Thank you very much for joining us. PJ Crowley, the State Department, thanks to you too.
Okay, man.
Still to come on tonight's program. As part of our comprehensive coverage of Haiti's devastating earthquake, an explanation of the science behind quakes and why yesterday's appears to have carried particular power. Still to come on tonight's program. As part of our comprehensive coverage of Haiti's devastating earthquake, an explanation of the science behind quakes and why yesterday's appears to have carried particular power. And Haitian communities around the world struggle to learn of the fate of their loved ones, even as they organize themselves to help. Twitter, Facebook, Skype, they're used every day to chat with friends or keep in touch with family. In Iran last year, we saw them come into their own during political unrest. Now Haiti is showing us how they can come into their own when nature causes unrest. It is one of the most extraordinary phenomena of modern time, the power of social networking sites in crises like this. And Jane O'Brien, our correspondent, explains why.
These were some of the earliest images to emerge from Haiti. But they didn't come from big organizations or official news channels. They came from ordinary people on the ground.
The world is coming to an end!
With normal communications badly disrupted, new technology has created a new age of information. Now I'm about to interview Pierre Cote in Haiti using Skype. Now that is a free program for voice and video calls over the internet. Pierre describes himself as a real-time storyteller.
If I'm not doing it, no one will do it. The traditional media won't do it. So the community needs it, so it's for me, there's a service to the community that I have to bring all together.
But what information are you providing that people aren't getting from traditional news media?
The real story, with no editors, people to people, community talking about the real issues.
Well, just a few years ago, this would not have been the way we would hear about disasters. But this new approach is the combination of advances in technology and rapid adoption by the public, even in the poorest parts of the world. People using Twitter to share vital information have attracted instant global followings. Troy Livesay made his first of dozens of tweets within seconds of the earthquake. We're all fine, pray for those in the slums. Covered in dust and debris, we saw a few bodies that had been pulled out of the rubble, came 7 hours later. And in response to an individual inquiry, we hear the Hotel Montana collapsed, we cannot confirm it, did not see it. A few hours ago, he went offline with the message, leaving to look for a list of people we'll try to report back. But there are risks associated with this level of instant, unfiltered information. This picture circulating on various sites purported to be a bridge in Haiti. It's actually a photo of earthquake damage in Japan in 2004. These new methods of communicating are challenging the traditional ways we receive and spread information. Even established media organisations have created their own Facebook and Twitter accounts to cover the disaster in Haiti. And as technology evolves, so will ways of telling stories. Jane O'Brien, BBC News, Washington.
Sometimes, of course, old-fashioned technologies like mobile phones still suffice, just. That's how we reached Guido Canale in Haiti today. He's the director of UNICEF there, and I asked him about the damage that he's seen in the capital.
Big buildings in Port-au-Prince, such as the Presidential Palace, such as the Montana Hotel, and also the headquarters of MINUSTA, apparently are down to the ground. And I can imagine that most of the slums of Port-au-Prince have also been damaged. So my understanding is that this is a major, major disaster.
What about the UNICEF offices in Port-au-Prince?
Well, the UNICEF office has been seriously damaged. We are moving actually our operations into the peacekeeping building near the airport. So all our communications actually were down. We are recovering. We have both some water, some bottled water we are going to distribute, and we have water tankers that are going to supply water that we already did last night, and we will do it this night along with WFP Food. UNICEF is in charge of water supply, and we are trying to organize shelters and temporary camps for people that remain homeless.
How difficult is this relief operation going to be, especially since so many of the roads have been destroyed?
Port-au-Prince itself, I think, is in a dire communication situation. I cannot tell you if the airport has been reopened, but it was closed yesterday and this morning. So it is a very, very difficult humanitarian operation that has to be run for many, many thousands of people. I can imagine that in Port-au-Prince, affected people are probably 100,000. This morning I was actually witnessing extraction of bodies from the rubble. And still some living persons, a woman in particular, was taken out with life. Rescue operations are still going on, and we still hope to find people alive in the rubble. And so UNICEF was well positioned together with WFP to run emergency operations here.
Guido Canale then. The earthquake which struck Haiti yesterday was a killer that had been gathering power underground for centuries, as two huge chunks of the Earth's crust ground against each other along a fault line. How does the quake's 7.0 magnitude compare to other tremors that have caused major damage around the globe in recent years? The quake in L'Aquila in Italy, for instance, last year measured just 5.8 and caused 300 deaths. In 2008, it was an 8.0 magnitude shock which flattened entire towns in China. That one killed 87,000 people. And more than 4 years ago in Pakistan, a 7.6 quake hit, leaving 75,000 dead. Experts are saying that the Haiti quake was unusually shallow, which may have contributed to its devastating power. The BBC's David Shookman has more on the science behind the tragedy.
This earthquake couldn't have hit a more vulnerable country. Extreme poverty, scene of multiple tragedies, and volatile geologically. The quake was especially devastating because of exactly where and how it struck.